Long ball number 3, Brenden Aaronson. Is he an English Premier League player? His Leeds side gained promotion with a 6-0 win versus Stoke. Leeds United getting promoted to the Premier League. Should Brenden Aaronson stick around and test his hand at the Premier League once again?
So here's his profile over on FotMob. So let's just look at it. These are his league numbers, right? Okay, so 24 years old, kind of important to put him in the right context age-wise. He's at a point where there might not be a big jump in terms of ability and performance, but, you know, he might have a little bit of improvement left, okay? Interesting to see he's valued at 14 million euros. Keep that in mind as we move forward in this conversation. 9 goals, a couple of assists. He has started 41 of 45 matches this season for Leeds United. He's played 44. So he has done a ton of work in this team as an attacking midfielder. I'm not going to put too much stock in the FotMob rating, although it kind of does give you a general idea of how he's performed this season. 9 goals in 44 appearances. He's not supposed to be an out-and-out goal scorer. But that assist number is not really great either, in a position where maybe that is your first concern, is setting up your teammates. We know that Brenden Aaronson brings a lot of energy to the field. We know that his pressing ability is a major asset in certain circumstances. And I think in the Hurly-Burly Championship, it might be a little bit, even though he's not a physical player, he's a pretty slight guy. I do think that sort of energy can be very useful in the Championship. I don't know about the Premier League jump, Rob. I want to believe. I think that we are a little bit of victims of the moment, prisoners of the moment in terms of his national team status. He's not a starter with the U.S. men's national team. He's a French player, right? The idea that he should be called into every camp is kind of up in the air. I don't want to just be a prisoner of that thinking, but I think Brenden Aaronson might need to move on. I don't know that going to the Premier League with a team that is going to be threatened by relegation again, no matter what you hope for Leeds, is a good idea.
I mean, to me, his standout quality has been his hustle, his fitness, and his ability to get around the field and hustle. But seeing him, his preferred position of play, attacking midfielder, and only 2 assists out of all those minutes, I agree with you that is a little bit of a concern. You wouldn't say that those are the numbers of a offensive maestro. Comment in the chat is Leeds is already looking for.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. How many new players Leeds brings into this team is obviously going to be fascinating to watch, right? Because you cannot stand pat. You cannot go to the Premier League with championship players. It does not work. Ask Burnley how that works out. It does not work. So they're going to make signings. I think it's very likely they'll make a signing at Brenden Aaronson's position. Now, Nate, shout out to Nate, who's a member, has to take advantage of the possibility for redemption, wise or not. So Nate is saying stick around because you have to prove you can play at that level after what happened the last time Leeds was in the Premier League. I don't know, man. I think if there's always there will always be an opportunity to play your way up to that level if you are scoring goals and creating assists somewhere else. Maybe there's another league. Maybe a move back to Germany would be a good idea for Brenden Aaronson. I don't know. If we're talking about playing at the top level, it doesn't have to be the Premier League, is what I'm saying for Brenden Aaronson. Now, is anybody going to come in at 14 million euros for Brenden Aaronson right now? The market for him might not be very deep outside of England. If there is interest in England, is there a championship side who sees what he did with Leeds this year and the role he played in promotion and thinks that's a guy we need? These things are big questions. My gut says go. Get out of Leeds. Probably stay in the championship. Maybe help somebody else get promoted. You're still 24. There could be a move to the Premier League in the next couple seasons.
You also got to note his availability. He stays fit. If you look at his numbers of all his appearances this year, 45. This is league appearances, 45. The year before that, Union Berlin, 38 when he was with Leeds 2 seasons ago. Again, 42 appearances, 41 for Salzburg before that. I mean, there is something to be noted for knowing if you have maybe he's a FotMob rated a 6 or a 7 every single game is available to you, that is a very useful quality, especially in the championship with the huge amount of numbers, knowing
Yes.
that you have a
Yeah.
player that maybe isn't going to break any records or, be the best player even on the field during any particular game, but the consistency and the availability is notable. And you got to think, kind of factors into his like how many teams would want him based on like a guy, a player, will always be available for selection.
Yeah, and look, I just think it's a fair assessment of Brenden Aaronson is that he's not a Premier League starter. So if you are willing to be a squad player and maybe get 5, 6, 7 starts in a Premier League season over 38 games, play some cup matches, play in the FA Cup, play in the League Cup, okay, maybe you stick around. Maybe you do. But if you want to play every week, if you want to not 44 games, maybe, although that's, again, the championship, because of how many times you play, there's opportunity there. If you imagine yourself to be a U.S. men's national team player, you have to be playing every week. And that's the other factor here. And I don't know that players should always be thinking about their national team prospects when they consider their club status. But there is definitely that thing of, if you want to be in Pochettino's picture, and Pochettino's already kind of set Brenden Aaronson to the side a little bit. Again, comes into the team when there's an injury, comes into the team when there's not other options. I think Brenden Aaronson, if he's looking at that with clear eyes, has to say, I got to be playing every week, and I might have to up my level if I want to be playing in a World Cup in 2026.
Have you guys subscribed? If you haven't, hit the button. We crashed through 2,000 subscribers, working towards 2,500 and beyond. If you haven't hit the button, do so now. Then tell your people about it. We are working towards becoming one of the centers of the American soccer conversation. And without folks to talk with, it's not as good. So the more people in the chat following, a lot more things open up when you hit that subscribe button. And now we have memberships, so join that membership role. We listed everyone at the top of the hour, so join that group. You're pointing at me. What you got, Jason?
No, I just that I want people to jump in and be part of what we're doing here, moving towards 2026 ourselves, right? And wanting to be ready to be a center of American soccer coverage and discussion and the community of it. That's the part I love about this, right? So I do a national radio show every day, and it's sort of a one-way street. I mean, we have some callers and we have text messages and stuff, and there's some interactive element. I love radio for that reason. But what we get to do here, as you look at our beautiful faces, is also respond to you guys, be in the chat, create the community through the Discord. If you become a member, you get access to the Discord. That's going to be an awesome place. Again, probably be sending out some of my American soccer memorabilia, which is, I think, the 5th word I've used to describe the stuff that I have at some point in the near future. So get on that list. We're working on more perks and everything else. We're going to have member videos that are just for people signed up. Hopefully have a lot more interviews and really interesting things to talk about with people that you and I know in American soccer, Rob, because we've got a pretty deep, is Rolodex a word that people understand, or do I need to say like phone book or
You have a dense, lengthy phone book. Sure.
I have a lot of group chats. I don't know. I don't actually have a lot of group chats, but a lot of phone numbers. I got a lot of people in my phone that I can contact for conversations on soccer in America. We're going to have a great one here in a couple of minutes.
We sure are. To follow along on social media at MKickaround on X, Instagram, Blue Sky.